All right. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I am Kenny Ray Jackson, and this is Sounds of Eureka on the Eureka Springs channel, a show that we've been doing here recently to introduce all you good people to the folks who keep you entertained here in Eureka Springs. Um, and today we have a really, really great guest. Eureka's own Mr. Kurt Hunter is going to be joining us here today to talk about what drives him musically and his musical journey and where we can see him and what we can expect from him. We'll have some little clips to show too of his past work. So, welcome, Kurt Hunter. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hello.
There you are.
Hello, Internet Land. Hello, Kenny Ray.
Hi, man. How are you today?
I'm great. Perfect. It's a wonderfully warm day outside, so I've spent most of it inside.
Right on. That's a very good choice because I did
Yeah.
the same thing. Well, thank you so much for doing this with us today.
Oh, thanks for
I know
having me. It's
people.
yeah, it's an absolute pleasure.
Well, people see you out playing all the time, and like I said, the reason for the show is really just to kind of like, like we were talking earlier, we don't really ever get to meet a lot of people that we play for, that we entertain, whether they're visitors to our beautiful town or locals even. Um, and it's just always nice to kind of like get a little background on the people that are playing and singing for you and helping you have a good time.
Absolutely.
So you, sir, have had quite a little musical journey, haven't you? I mean, you started pretty young
Yeah, yeah.
with your music.
Yes, absolutely. I started playing guitar when I was I don't know, 12, 13, probably 12, I would say.
Wow.
Singing shortly after that, but mostly guitar
Right.
in the beginning. That was kind of my first love.
Well, thank goodness because you kill it every time you're on it.
Oh, thanks.
It's fantastic.
Thank you. I thought I'd be a lot
And so
better by
you
now.
we can always improve in our own minds, I
That's
think,
true.
you
That
know.
is true. Yes,
So you came up in Louisiana, is that right?
I did. Yes. Yep.
So you
Grew
were
up there.
surrounded by a lot of probably of the Zydeco and Cajun sort of music growing up. Did your family play? Was there anybody in your family that kind of influenced you to start, or was this just
No, not
something that
really.
you felt like you needed to do?
My mom is a huge music lover, and my dad loves music too, obviously. But my mom is a big concert goer. She's seen way more concerts than I have, and so she loves rock music. She's like Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin all the way. And so when I kind of got introduced to the guitar when I was young, like that was the kind of music I was interested in as well. And so being able to like you know replicate what my favorite artists were doing, the sounds they were making, it was just like an amazing thing to me. So that's kind of how I got really introduced to music. Although my mom's love for music, of course, influenced me before that. But
Did she take you to your first concert?
yes, absolutely. I skipped homecoming in
Right
high
on. What was
school.
it?
I skipped homecoming in high school so that my mom and I could go to ZZ Top.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
way better than Homecoming.
It
I'm pretty
was. It
sure.
definitely was. Yeah. All of my friends were like, "Man, we wish we could have went to ZZ Top instead." So, yeah, it was cool.
Right.
ZZ Top
Awesome.
and
So you did
Jackal.
that. Oh gosh, Jackal. I saw those
Yeah.
guys back in the day too. Let's
Did you
date
really?
ourselves here a
That
little
is
bit.
great. I
Oh
love it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I saw them way back in the '80s, brother. And
Were they
that
doing
chainsaw
the
was.
chainsaw? Yes, the
Oh
chainsaw
yeah, they did the
song.
chainsaw song. It
Of
was it
course.
was that was the only reason to go see them, really. You know what I mean? And I can't even remember who they were with at that time, but man, that little gimmick that they did there really kind of made that
Yeah.
show
Yeah. It was
come
fun.
alive.
It did.
So you did that. So you started playing in Louisiana when you were in your early teens, but then you moved to California, right,
I
out
did.
west, and you
Yep.
joined a very prestigious. Actually, I think I was reading about this. Um, the Young Americans was really like the first nonprofit show choir, right? I mean, it was, and it's really just to kind of
Hmm.
bring joy and music to everyone, um, and kind of teach that to kids. Is that how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were formed in the '60s, and they were around, just doing performances and things. They were on things like the Ed Sullivan Show, and they performed with Judy Garland and Bing Crosby and people like that. And when I came in contact with them in the '90s, they were doing these workshops called National Music Outreach Tours, where they went to high schools all around the U.S. and tried to encourage music programs in the schools that they would visit. And so they would do a workshop where they taught a show for 2 days, and then the third day they would do the show with all the kids that learned the show. And like I said, it was all to promote music education. And so when they came to my school, I was already sort of into music, and so it was a great opportunity to take 2 days off of school, regular school. So I jumped at that, and then I just sort of fell in love with the concept. And I hadn't really gotten a chance to travel a whole lot as a kid. We went on a couple of vacations to places, but Young Americans kind of went everywhere, and so I ended up auditioning for them at the night after our workshop show, and so once I graduated high school, I moved out to California, and I toured with them for about 4 years.
Oh wow, that's a really really nice residency with them. And so
Yeah.
you were not only, you weren't only just performing and learning choreography. I'm assuming that you guys had choreography, right?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Quite a bit.
Okay, so
Rap,
you weren't
jazz,
only
all the
just learning
things.
that stuff.
What's
Oh,
that?
I did not know you could do jazz. Give us some jazz hands.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
of
There you
course.
are. Awesome, brother. Awesome. So you were teaching though during this too, right? You were kind of
Yes. Hmm.
mentoring the younger kids that were coming in and getting involved with it.
Yeah, yeah. So part of being in the group was you go on tour, and yeah, you would teach. You would do what I did when I was a town kid, and you would teach all of the music and the dances and all the things to the kids that were taking the workshop that you were now presenting. And yeah, so that's basically what I did in my tenure there. And actually, I ended up learning how to run sound and do some uh, you know production, show production stuff too. So I ended up doing a lot of that for them as well.
So you wound up that wound up being making you like an even more well-rounded musician, I would say. I mean, because so
Ye-
many of us, I mean, and I'm going to be
yeah.
honest right here, as a singer, I'm not that technical, and that stuff just stumps me. But that's a great thing to have in your little book of secrets there, to have that
Yeah.
production
Yeah,
education.
it turned out that like giant mixers with all the buttons and knobs that look very intimidating was like really up my alley, and I love that stuff. I love plugging things into other things and like rerouting things like that. I don't know,
Right.
that makes sense to my brain. So that was like a really fun thing to do. Actually, it was really stressful at first, but then once I got the hang of it, then it was really fun.
Right on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, well, I've seen your live show so many times, and with that amazing um, equipment that you use. I mean, you literally are a one man band up there with loopers, and I don't know how you do this stuff. It always just astounds me. I'm like,
Oh,
he has is
thank you.
some sort of sorcerer or wizard or something
I'll take that.
uh,
Yes.
up there. So did Young Americans, were you performing before you got involved with those guys, or was that kind of like the thing that really spurred you to like want to get on stage and entertain
I,
people and be a part of that community?
yeah, I mean, I had done a few things ahead of that. Like when I was 10, I did this play that it was a summer program. I went in with a bunch of kids my age, and we wrote and performed a play of our own. It was called Bernie's Comedy Club, and it was this whatever. It was a show about comedians that worked at a comedy club, and then there was like a murder mystery mixed in there, and that's and then we ended up performing the whole thing. My character was called Count Dracula, and I was like a vampire that wore like curtains as a cape, and it was just ridiculous and funny. So that was, and then I was in a couple of like high school talent shows, but that was really like the extent of me like being a performer. I was actually really shy when I was a little kid, and so like I think I surprised most of my family when I started doing those kinds of things. But yeah, Young Americans was definitely like the start of me like regularly being a performer, that sang and danced and acted in front of, however many people at any time. So it
Sure.
was
Well,
definitely
that's I'm so glad you joined it.
a major propulsion. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's addictive, isn't it? Once you get
Oh,
used
sure.
to that sort of thing, and that rush of, oh my God, in a live show, it's always, you never know. You hope for the best, and you hope that it's going to go according to plan, but you never can
Oh
be
no.
rest assured on that.
Oh no.
And
Well,
so there's always that
that is the
element of
fun.
surprise.
And the Young Americans had a phrase that was used almost daily, and it was called "Make It Work," and and that translates to every possible scenario. From technical problems to, oh no, where's my shoes, to what, the power went out, what do we do now, that kind of stuff. So and if you just have that attitude of make it work, hey, you find a solution, and sometimes the solution is better than the way it was planned in the first place, because the
I
audience can
absolutely
see what's
agree with that.
happening. They're
Yes.
aware, they're smart, they're people like you and I, and they can see when things go wrong, and that's really what the beauty of it is, when you take what's going wrong and then you make it right, in the moment.
Well, and they're rooting for you. They're rooting
Oh,
for you
absolutely.
for it to become right. And then once you do, it's like this huge, oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
success that you just like. It's like, wow, we winged the entire thing, but you know
Yes.
what?
Yeah.
It came out just fine. I'm so glad you guys had a good time, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you did Young Americans, and then that led now. So you guys may not know this, but you have definitely seen or heard Kurt before. He was involved in, and you guys may remember these insurance and commercials from back in the what do we call them? The aughts, I guess,
Yeah.
the
The
early
odds. Yeah.
2000s. Oh my Lord, I'm old. So you wound up winning a contest, right, for those guys
Hmm.
to it was the Get Animated. Was that the name of the
Yeah. That.
contest, or was it?
Yes. That was it. Yep. That was their whole. Yeah. Yeah. It was like a contest, and I think it was sort of like an animated campaign like slogan ahead of that, but then they turned it into this contest where they wanted to feature some of their customers that did, various types of talented things.
Well, brother, I'll tell you what. I actually saw that in that contest when that was going on, and I wanted to enter it so very badly.
Did you? That's so
But
funny.
I did. But you know what? You got to play to win, and I I did not even make it to entering. But I'm so glad to
Oh
finally meet the
man.
fellow who did,
What, you know what
and to
though?
have you.
Here, I'll give you the inside info about this, because I didn't actually, like, when I got this email, I was like, "Oh, I should do that. That sounds like something I should do." And then I procrastinated, as I want to do, and it was the night before it was due. I checked the email again. I was like, "Oh no, that's due tomorrow." I was like, "I better do something if I'm going to do it." But I was like kind of lazy at that moment. And I was like, "Is it really worth doing?" So I really just last minute like was like, okay, if I write something that sounds like it could maybe win, I'll do it. And so I wrote this song in like 20 minutes, and I was like, okay, this is kind of good. So I ended up sending it in last minute, and it actually didn't win first place. It came in second place to another guy who they also produced a commercial for, who drew caricatures, which makes a lot of sense since it's an animation, based thing. But they called me the day that they announced the winner, and they said, "Hey, even though you came in second place by 2 points, we want to offer you the same package because we love the song and we think it's cool and we want to do your commercial too. So they gave it to both of us. So we both won. And then what you're showing here is the results of that.
Well, that's beautiful. So we have a clip of this, right?
Down on my luck, I
The
was paying
song.
too much for my auto insurance claim. While I was singing the blues till I heard the news. Insurance, you saved the day. Well, if you want me to help save some trees, then the paperwork is overrated. With insurance, I get animated. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get animated. Yeah, 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 yeah. I get animated.
Nice. There you were. Oh my goodness.
So if you ever wonder what I look like without a beard, that's what I look like.
That is awesome, man. But that was a huge jumping off point for you, right? I mean, really, it was, because after you got that exposure, I mean, you really kind of like you started pumping out some tunes, and like your stuff has been like in obviously commercial, but also in what TV shows and movies and on the radio, I believe, and that's a wonderful thing to come out of not winning a contest, Kurt. I'm kidding. It's a great thing.
Honestly, it was like more. It was more sort of like a confidence boost for me. Like it was, like and it did actually afford me a couple of opportunities directly, but it was a really cool thing to have happen. They flew me to San Francisco and we filmed it up there, and yeah, it was just kind of a whole experience. It was really cool.
It's fantastic. And you got free car insurance for life.
Yeah, right. I got free nothing from them. In fact, when I moved from Orange County to LA, I called Esurance to change my address, and they were like, "Oh, well, since you moved counties, it's going to be, and it was actually like triple the cost." And I was like, "Do you know who I am?" And I was just kidding. I didn't say that, but because obviously that woman who I was talking to did not know who I was. But I had to leave Esurance after that because they were no longer the deal that. But
oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. So you did that, and then you have just done so much. You went on Norwegian cruise lines, right, as a solo performer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How was that? Was that a lot of fun? Was it kind of weird?
All of those things, yes. It was. Norwegian. So I was kind of playing some gigs out in California, sort of here and there. I think I would do maybe 3-4 gigs a month, and they were just kind of on the side. I had a regular job as an audiovisual tech. After my knowledge I learned in the Young Americans of how to run sound systems and things like that. And I hated that job. Well, I didn't hate it, but it was not the job I wanted to keep doing forever. And so at some point I decided, I was like, look, I need to try to do this music thing full time. And so the thing, I thought of, I was like, well, I don't want to quit my job and just be, a broke musician. I want to transition into this. So, I was like, well, I know they hire musicians on cruise ships. That would be a steady gig for a long period of time. I could save up a lot of money. So I ended up auditioning for this guy, Landau, can't remember his first name. Anyways, Landau Productions. And it was funny because when I sent in my audition, I also included the clip of the Esurance thing. And the guy was like, I remember seeing that commercial. I love that song. And that was part of the reason that they were interested in hiring me for the ship. So I ended up working on Norwegian Cruise Line for about 6 months, just, day in, day out. I played 5 to 6 days. Actually, it was 6 to 7 days a week, 4 hours each night, and cruising the Caribbean. And I met so many amazing people, and it was, like you said, it was fun, but it was also weird, and it was also, exhausting sometimes, but it definitely proved to me that I could be a full-time musician and that I wanted to be a full-time musician, and that was it was a really cool start to doing music full-time, and just earning my living from music.
And that's terrifying, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
and thank goodness that you got that taste of the fact that you could do music for a living, because that's something that I struggled with for years myself. Was what I would work jobs as a chef, which I love to cook and I love being a chef, but it was really, I think when I look back on it, it was working those jobs that I probably wouldn't be doing. Except for to support my musical habit was what that wound up being. Did you find yourself looking at it like that ever? Like you were doing this so you could go and play gigs that maybe didn't pay enough to like make a living from, but you were still able to do it.
Well,
I mean, that's
part of the reason I was like, hey, I could do this audio visual thing. And then what was great about the audio visual thing was back when I didn't have my own sound equipment, I could just borrow stuff from them and take it to the gig.
Right.
So it really worked hand in hand. It was a great job to have as I was trying to sort of build some momentum.
Well, I love
cool
people
with that too. Like they let me do that.
Well,
I
thank
didn't just do
goodness.
it.
I love these people who they say, oh, what do you do for a living? And they say, oh, well, I'm a musician. And they're like, oh, well, they don't realize all the work that goes into that and all the money that goes into that equipment to bring that show to you. It's astronomical.
Someone mentioned this to me at a gig I did last week, and they were like, "Oh, you're so talented. You sound great. It must be amazing. That you're born with this talent. Your singing talent." And I was like, actually, it took a lot of work for me to sing the way I do now, because I didn't sound this good when I first started singing. Like, I worked at it really hard, and I worked at all of this stuff that you're hearing me do now. I worked at it. I didn't just wake up in this way that you're hearing me now. I was like, don't minimize the hard work I put into this.
Yeah, it's not like some sort of magic music fairy came along and waved a wand and there you were just like suddenly pulling it out. But you are phenomenal. So I think that now, so you did that and you toured around. I mean, what you've played in 5 countries. I think that is what.
Yeah.
I read.
If we're talking, especially through the Young Americans, I performed all over with them. Sure. Once I did the cruise ship, then I was performing basically all around Southern California, and still writing and trying to get that kind of stuff going. So I turned SoCal into my tour, which it's SoCal, and it takes about 2 hours to get anywhere. So it kind of feels like you're on a bus, touring the country sometimes.
Or you really are.
You're just not going very fast,
No, you get on the 101 and you're done for. You better leave 3 hours early before your gig, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I did many times. Yeah.
Well, you do all these amazing covers, and I mean, it never ceases to amaze me, the things that you just pull out of the air, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he knows this song. Who knows it? Who the hell knows this song besides Kurt and the guy who wrote it, and all of us listening to it, but knows how to play it and perform it. But you also do a lot of really great original stuff.
Thank you.
And I think that we're about to do a clip here of a song that you wrote, and this is called I'm All Right.
Yes.
I believe. Cool.
Yes. I'm out on a bridge, standing alone in the middle of a rainstorm, 'cause I just wanna know how it would feel to be lonely for a while. Yeah, but I'm alright. No, I don't need any help, and I'll be fine. Tonight I'm alright by myself. And I'm walking the street past all the shops that close on a Sunday, and I stop at the park, sit on a swing, and wonder if God sees me. Yeah, but I'm alright. No, I don't need any help. And I'll be fine tonight. I'm alright by myself. If I scream at the sky, would the birds even look in my direction? If I follow the sun to the east, would I just end up west again? I don't know, I don't know. So I sit on the bed, Christmas lights on, burning the night down. Turn the radio on and turn up the sound and listen to nothing at all.
Gosh, that is so beautiful.
And
My
I'm
goodness.
alright. No, I don't need any help. And I'll be fine tonight. I'm alright by myself. Yeah, tonight I'm alright by myself.
My gosh, sir, that is an amazing song.
Thank you,
I
thank
love
you.
that. When did you write that? Was that is that an older one, or is that something newer?
No, that's pretty old now. God, when did I write that? I don't remember. Sometime in the 2010s, 12-ish, somewhere around then. Yeah, I remember exactly where I was when I wrote that. I had just moved in with a friend of mine who I hadn't known very long. I actually met her at a speed dating event, and but we got to be friends, and it turned out she lived right down the street from where I lived, and then at some point we were like, she was like, I'm kind of looking for a roommate, and I was like, me too, and so like we ended up moving in together. And so I remember I wrote that song like sitting in the activities room of that apartment complex. And so there's a line in there about sitting on the bed with the Christmas lights on, and that was because her spare room that she had that I rented was like a bunk bed, and she had all of these Christmas lights all over it. And that was a reference to sitting in there and just kind of like, you know, being musician like and existential.
Right. Well, it's gorgeous. Thank goodness.
Thank
Thank
you.
goodness you met her in speed dating. So
Yeah.
you've got so many great songs out there. You've got a new release that just came out in May.
Yes.
A Hero is Made, and now this is available pretty much anywhere you can buy music. But this ties in with our show right here, because if you guys make a comment on our show here, you'll be entered to win our $25 Apple Music gift card for the month of June, which will be drawn in July. And so, make a comment, join us. You can do it during our live show, or you can catch us on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, the Eureka Springs channel on Facebook, and win this $25 and buy you some Kurt Hunter, because he is amazing. He's a true gem of Eureka Springs, and
That'll get you
we are
at least
so lucky to have
25
you
songs
here.
of mine.
Right. Yes, you could get 25 Kurt Hunters. And that is a great investment, kids. It really is,
Definitely.
because you are phenomenal. And so I just want
Thank
to
you.
touch just
Thank
real
you.
quick.
Yeah.
You've got so many things like coming up. Like you're booked for the season. I know you are. You're doing weddings. You're doing private parties and
Yep.
bars and just you're just all over the place. And so you obviously like Eureka Springs a lot,
Oh yeah.
since you're sticking around. You've been here for how long now?
It'll be 4 years in August. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So it grabbed a hold of you. That's what our beautiful town does, is it grabs a hold of people, and some of us it just won't let go, and we wouldn't leave even if it would,
Yes.
because it's such a
Yes.
beautiful place to live,
It
and
is.
so much creativity and all these amazing musicians, that we have
Absolutely.
here to keep everyone entertained, and for us also, so for us musicians to bounce off of each other. I think that's so very important, and there's a lot of that happens here in this town too. Speaking of which, if you're ever up for a collab, I'm down with that
Oh
too,
yeah.
my brother.
Absolutely.
Might be kind of
Absolutely.
fun to do something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it would just be an amazing thing, to do that. And I think there's a fellow here in town now, who is putting together a CD, an album of local musicians,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
that I need to hook you up with, because he's putting together like one song from each act around here.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah. That's
really really
great.
a nice little thing. But anyway, so it looks like we're running a little almost out of time. Kurt, again, thank you so much for joining us, Mr.
Sure.
Kurt
Thanks for
Hunter,
having
ladies and
me.
gentlemen. Now
It's,
we can see you this weekend.
mhm.
Where at Eureka Live
Yeah.
Beer
Yeah.
Garden,
So
right?
exactly. Yeah. And I play there most Friday, Saturdays. So I'll definitely be there. And because it's been so hot, I might start a little after 6. Usually we're doing 6 to 9, but it might be a little bit like 6:30. Because it's pretty warm out there. But
Oh
I'll
yes.
also be at the Basin Park Hotel noon to 3 on the
Oh
balcony.
cool.
And then, yeah, I'll be at, I think I'm at the Gravel Bar this weekend. I'm not looking at my calendar. So it's either this weekend, this Sunday, or next Sunday. Um,
Right on.
but yeah, yeah, lots of chances to get out there and hear some great music.
Yes. Well, kids, if you kids, like I said, if you've never heard Kurt, you need to get out there and check him out, because his show is really really phenomenal, and he is truly a Eurekan musician, and he's part of why this town is what it is. It's
Thank you.
this all of this energy that we all put out there, and try to make it wonderful for everyone around us. And it doesn't take a musician to appreciate a musician. It just takes a love of music. And without people who love music and don't play and they just want to listen, what we do, Kurt, would be moot. I mean, yeah, we would get it out of our souls and out of our hearts, and we would process stuff, but it would not be the same thing
No,
without those listeners. So you
exactly,
guys get out there and
exactly.
and check out Mr. Kurt Hunter, and give him a give
Well,
him
thank
a
you,
give him a round of applause, because he deserves it every time he plays, because
thank you,
he's a
Kenny.
really really hardworking singer for
Well,
you
and
guys.
you're doing all kinds of great stuff too, and that's really cool. I loved your shirt that proclaims you're not a comedian for the variety show that you're hosting. That's that cracked me up. I love it. I think that's really cool. I hope to make it out to see some of that very soon.
I
Uh,
hope you will. That not a comedian shirt was so I wouldn't get slapped,
sure.
because and it worked.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, yeah. I think that's really cool. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing this. You and the Eureka Springs channel.
Yeah,
It's
Melody
really
Purdy,
cool.
thank you so much for
Yeah,
producing for
thank you,
us on
Melody.
this.
Yes, it's very cool, and I love to see the support. I think that's one of my favorite things about Eureka is that the support, between everybody, and just kind of like trying to lift everybody up. It's just
There's no
it's
competition.
it's so rare to find something like that anywhere, and I think it's a really special part of what Eureka is
Oh
about, not
yes.
only in the musician community but just in general. And I think it's
Oh
really
yes.
cool.
Yes. I'm so glad that we both landed here in this beautiful little town.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
You know, I can't imagine leaving ever.
It's pretty special here. So
Well, hey, brother, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank all of you guys out there in the webosphere. I'm Kenny Ray Jackson. This is Sounds of Eureka on the Eureka Springs channel. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. Make a comment on the episode, and you will be entered to win our $25 Apple Music gift card, which will be drawn next month in July for the month of June. And thank you again to Kurt and to Melody Purdy and to the Eureka Springs channel for making this little show possible. And I hope you guys have enjoyed our episode today. And we look forward to bringing you guys another one really soon. Have a great day.